All right, so it's 2026. There's all sorts of stuff out there available for our cars, but if you own a Subaru Crosstrek, whether it's first, second, or third gen, there are some things that you can do if you want to take it off the pavement and get out and do some light off-roading. I'm going to go over some of the best mods that have really expanded my horizons when I've been taking my Subaru off-road. And so let's just jump right into it. So the first thing that you need to do is determine what's the purpose of this vehicle. In this video, I'm gonna go over things that have been helpful in my case. And what I do is a lot of camping, hiking, and just light off-road trails in my Subarus. And so that's what this is going to be geared towards. There's a lot of other accessories and mods that you can buy for the car, totally up to you, but that's what these accessories and modifications are going to be based around. So the first thing, if you want to go off-road, even if it's just for, light stuff like getting to camping spots, getting to fishing spots, getting out to some remote hiking areas, one of the most effective things that you can do to improve the grip of the vehicle on the trails is an upgraded set of tires. Now, you don't necessarily have to go bigger with the tire, but I would recommend a good all-terrain tire. Now, if you have a Wilderness Edition, probably came with a set of all-terrain tires already. You could upgrade to something a little more aggressive if you wanted. You could even size up a little bit, but you'll want to do research to make sure that the size you're planning to get is going to fit with the other modifications that you plan to do, and that it's not going to be so big that it sort of overpowers the drivetrain of the vehicle. And then just a quick side note, some of my favorite off-road tires for these cars are going to be things like the Falcon Wild Peak AT4W, the BFG KO3. I know a lot of people are going to say that the KO3 is too heavy. In my opinion, it's not. It's actually pretty on par with other LT tires. The only reason that it gets a bad rap for being overweight is because it's only available in LT versions. A tire like that, I probably would not recommend if you're just doing very light stuff, but if you need to make sure that your tire can withstand being aired down aggressively and being placed in situations where sharp rocks and things like that are going to come in contact with the sidewall, the BFG KO3 is a great tire. You're also going to have some other great options like the Milestar Patagonia AT Pro. My friend Patrick Anderson that owns ADF, or Anderson Design and Fabrication, they run those tires on all their cars. They've been running them for a few years at this point on some of their more notorious builds. But you could even check out stuff like General Grabber. Mickey Thompson makes some tires that are relatively aggressive, but also available in sizes that'll fit our cars. Now, one of the next things that's super important if you're going to be going off-road, whether you're lifted or not, is a good set of skid plates. Now, if your Subaru has an automatic or a CVT transmission, if you drive a Crosstrek, chances are it has a CVT. They never made one with a true automatic. What you're going to want to look for is a front skid plate. Then you're going to want a CVT transmission pan skid plate. Both of those things are going to ensure that pretty much no matter what you get into, you're not going to damage the oil pan or the CVT pan. If you damage or puncture either of these, you can completely ruin either the engine or the transmission. If your transmission gets a rock or bolt or something like that stuffed up against the pan, you can damage some of the solenoids up in there, and if you lose that CVT fluid, probably going to roach the transmission pretty quickly. At the very least, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. And same with the oil pan. If that gets punctured by a rock, and if you don't shut the car off immediately, it only takes about 30 seconds of low oil pressure for rod bearings to start getting wiped out. So you're going to need a completely new engine if you go down that road. Now, as far as skid plates, there's some good companies that I've used personally, and that's usually how I make recommendations. I recommend, different brands and products that I would either suggest to a friend or a family member, or that I would buy myself. The two skid plate companies that I like the most is Anderson Design and Fabrication and then Primitive Racing. Both are great. You can have a good experience with either one. I've used them both, love them both. I do have a discount code for ADF. You can just go to their website, awdadventure.com, use code DIRTSUBIES at checkout. That'll get you 5% off on your skid plates. They're a sponsor of the podcast that I do, and so I'm majorly thankful to them. And I've been using their stuff for about a decade, so really happy to have them as a sponsor and to be able to offer you guys that discount code. And some people might wonder, well, should I get oil filter cutouts and a rear diff? Like, what should I be looking for? That's totally up to you. I don't think rear diff skids are really necessary. If it fits into your budget and you want one, you can definitely do it. But differential housings are insanely tough. One benefit of the rear diff skid that I've found is that it makes it slide easier off of rocks, tree stumps, and then a little bit easier to move through snow. Just a little bit, not, you know, it's not going to be like a game changer, but it's there if you need it. Now, as far as oil drain and oil filter cutouts, again, you're going to have to make that decision. I don't use them because they cost a little bit more money, and it's just one more area where something can get up through the skid plate. And realistically, I just like to take my skid plate off when I do oil changes. It takes like 5 minutes to pull the plate down. That's it. Then you can get up in there, do your oil change, put it back up. And while you're doing the oil change, it gives you an opportunity to sort of look around and inspect the underside of the engine to see, okay, do we have an oil leak? Do we got valve cover gasket leaks? Is there a leak at the oil cooler? Like, what do we got going on here? But again, you know, if you're somebody who is just going to be deterred from doing your oil changes because you don't have the oil cutouts, then get them. But again, just a personal preference thing. All right, so this one might be a little controversial and it might not apply to everybody, but one of the things that I always do in my Subarus is I size down the wheels so that I can get a tire with more sidewall. Now, this is not going to apply to 3rd gen Crosstreks. They have a much bigger brake caliper setup, and so clearing the caliper and the rotors on the 3rd gens is much more difficult. I think 17-inch wheels is kind of the lowest wheel size that you can run, but on 1st and 2nd gen Crosstreks, a lot of people are running 15-inch wheels. So 15 by 7-inch wheels from like Method Racing, Black Rhino, or any of the other companies, Motegi. They make a lot of stuff that is going to fit on our cars very nicely and give you the ability to have more sidewall without really going much extra on the overall diameter. This is important because it can really soften the off-road experience. More sidewall means more cushion, and it makes it to where the tire is going to be just a little bit more durable against punctures and things like that when you're off-road and you're out there, you know, in the sharp rocks, sharp tree branches, things like that. But one of my favorite features of being able to size down to a tire that's got more sidewall is being able to air the tire down pretty aggressively. If there's more sidewall, you're going to be able to let a little bit more air out of the tire without really risking damage to the sidewall. And that's going to give you substantially more grip. And I found this to be real useful in snow and sand, slick rocks, mud, things like that. And in this case, you're going to want to do a little research again to make sure that your desired tire size and wheel size is gonna work with the desired mods that you've got coming up. And then the next thing that you definitely want to consider, and these are in no particular order, but a lift kit. A lift kit is going to help give you a little bit more ground clearance at the rear diff and underneath the engine. You're just gonna be able to make your way through things just a little bit easier, and it's gonna allow you to put bigger tires on the car if that's what you wanna do. The other benefit is if you're doing real mild water crossings, you're not going to have to worry as much about water coming into the vehicle or hydro locking the motor. A lift kit is just kind of one of the most basic things and one of the most elementary parts of getting out and off-roading. Now, I don't like to overdo it with lift kits. I think the smallest lift kit that's going to still do the job, that's kind of the way that I modify all my cars. I want to keep the center of gravity good. I want to keep the complexity of the lift kit minimal. And for Subarus, I think it's really good to go between 1 and 2 inches of lift. It's going to depend on which car you have and what lift you're trying to go with. But in my opinion, anywhere in that range of 1 inch to 2 inches is going to be perfect for these cars. Anything more than that requires a ton of extra work, a lot of, you know, custom work, and it really doesn't give you any additional capability because when you go to that level, every part of the drivetrain has to be spaced down because these are not solid axle vehicles. They have CV axles front and rear, and you're very limited on how much you can lift these cars without doing substantial amounts of work to correct the drive line angles, the CV angles. You've even got to consider things like steering shaft extensions. You got to extend the radiator hoses, all sorts of stuff that's going to have to sort of be finagled to make this work. And with Crosstreks, this is pretty much a custom thing that would have to be done. So sticking between 1 and 2 inches, that's absolutely what I do and what I recommend people do. And you can look at companies, again, ADF, Primitive Racing, Rally Tech. If you're over in Australia or somewhere in that part of the world, you could check out Subi Oz. They make some stuff that's pretty solid. But the two companies that I always reach out to if I need or want to buy lift kit stuff for my vehicles is ADF and Primitive. And then again with ADF, you can use that Dirt Subies discount for lift kits as well. And then I want to address real quick the type of lift kits that are good for Subarus. They're a little bit different than, again, if you're working with solid axle, Jeep Rubicons or even 4Runners. Those have at minimum a solid rear axle. The way that they're designed, you can actually put a long travel suspension lift on those vehicles. With Subarus, we're very limited to the travel that our cars can obtain. You can put long travel coilovers on the car, but because of the suspension design on them, you don't get anything out of it, in my opinion, unless you do a bunch of custom work that costs a lot of money. So it is perfectly okay to just run a spacer lift on the strut tops of your Subaru. That's what I've been doing for a decade. It's my favorite way to do it. You don't have to dial in the suspension. It's just set it and forget it. Now, you may need overload springs. That's something that you'll have to kind of figure out if you're carrying a lot of off-road gear, if you have heavy front and rear bumpers or a rear tire carrier. If you have a rooftop tent, you may need overload springs in addition to your lift to sort of help alleviate some of the sagging that comes from carrying that stuff on the car. If you're not quite sure, what you could do is reach out to ADF, Primitive, or Rally Tech and explain to them, hey, this is my situation with my car. This is what I carry. These are my goals for the car. Do I need lift springs? And if so, which ones would you recommend in my situation? Now, moving on, these are not mods, but these are things that you should absolutely carry with you if you're going to be off-roading. You're going to want some basic recovery gear. Two pieces of recovery gear that are some of my favorite are soft shackles and a kinetic recovery rope. I just count those as one thing. And then I always carry an air compressor. An air compressor is going to be super valuable for helping you to air down and then air back up, giving you lots of grip. And they can be used to reinflate a debeaded tire. Very important in my opinion. And then with a recovery rope and soft shackles, I love both of these because soft shackles eliminate having a metal component to your recovery setup. If a recovery rope breaks, you're not going to have a metal D-ring flying through the air and hitting somebody in the face. We do not want that. Soft shackles can also be attached in places that a D-ring would typically damage, deform, or even, like if you have like a expensive bumper, a set of soft shackles is not going to mar the surface. And obviously, you can paint stuff and whatever. But when you're spending a bunch of money putting custom bumpers on your car, it's nice to have something that's not just gonna mar off all the powder coating or paint or whatever you've got on there. And then other recovery items that I always carry: shovels, a little bit of food and water, because you never know what's gonna happen. And you can use recovery boards if you want. I don't really use them. And then if you can afford a winch, winches are gonna make recoveries just a little bit easier. Just make sure that you're informed on how to safely use one and all the best practices. And then finally, a tree saver strap is going to be very useful in helping you to perform recoveries with a winch on your Subaru. Even if there's somebody else in your group that has a winch and you don't have one, if they're trying to recover you, let's say you're wanting to use a snatch block or something like that, a tree saver is going to help a lot. And if you have a winch, a tree saver is going to allow you to pull off of trees without wrapping your winch line around the tree itself, because all that does is you lose a lot of pulling power through the constriction that's taking place as you're just pulling that rope in on itself. Plus, it just kind of damages trees that don't need to be torn up. Now, another thing that over the years I have grown to really appreciate is good lighting. Now, I don't go overboard with light bars, but I will tell you that if you're outside in the middle of nowhere and you're performing a recovery, or you're trying to pack up your gear, or just whatever you're doing, or you're trying to see your line when it's, dusk or whatever, having good lighting is honestly pretty cool. Usually don't recommend that people go out and do this, first thing. I think you kind of have to earn your lights, in my opinion, maybe. But just a good set of like ditch lights or a small light bar up front somewhere. And then even, you can put something on the roof as like side shooters to give you sort of an idea of what's going on around you. Those also help when you're airing up your tires or packing up gear, you can have a good amount of light around you to sort of know what you're working with and what you're doing. And then finally, I want to talk about batteries. This is something that gets overlooked a lot, and you guys probably know that MeLe Design Firm sponsors my podcast, but I've been using their products and the products that they sell for about 5 years, almost 6 years at this point. The reason I initially started looking at good AGM batteries is because I ended up out in the middle of nowhere and I didn't realize I had a failing battery. Left my dome light on for just a little bit while I was trying to get my camera gear together. I get back in the car to start it and nothing. I just got a little click and that was it. And I got real lucky. I was way out, far away from any paved roads. I got super lucky because there was somebody else out in the forest. I started, walking down the trail, found somebody, fortunately for me. They helped jump the battery and I was on my way, and then I went and got a new battery. But that sort of opened my eyes to how important it is to have a battery that is resistant to vibration, resistant to temperature changes, and just generally reliable. And so I use full throttle batteries in all 3 of my cars. My wife's got one in her Subaru, and I use MeLe Design Firm battery mounts for all of mine because I can put them wherever I want in the car. And then in my wife's car, we use one of their tie downs. And you don't necessarily need a special battery mount. I just like them because they don't put focus pressure down the center of the battery casing. And I just love handmade nice Subaru parts. But they sell excess power, braille, anti-gravity. They sell what I use, which is full throttle, and MeLe is where I bought mine. They also, like I said, they do sponsor the podcast, and they gave me a discount code to give you guys. If you want to upgrade your battery, you can just go on their website, get whatever you want, use code DIRTSUBIES at checkout. They also sell stuff like strut tower braces, oil caps, and like billet aluminum oil caps and engine bay caps. I know they sell a bunch of other stuff like pitch stop mounts, things like that, just cool little Subaru bits that are all, bespoke, low number parts that not every broccoli head's gonna have. So I think that's pretty cool. But those are some of the key items that I use when I'm either building an accessory list or a mod list for a Subaru that I'm going to take off-road. And if you're taking your Crosstrek out there and you want to make sure that it's set up, realistically to be able to get out there and not get stuck too bad, as long as you manage your expectations right, like these are not rock crawlers, but as long as you know what you're getting into ahead of time and you have some of this stuff on your shopping list and you get it installed, you're going to have a much better chance of getting out there and enjoying nature and just seeing more of the world and being able to make it back home. Now, obviously this doesn't cover everything that, is good to have on a Crosstrek, but I'd love to hear some of the stuff that you guys have found to be super useful when you're off pavement in your Crosstrek. Let me know in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys out on the trails.